I've been lately feeling very insecure due to a guy trying to hit on my girlfriend, and it's been frustrating. So, my girlfriend works as a PR in a fairly high-end club in Vietnam. Her job is to serve and entertain VIP guests with small talks, serve them drinks, etc., but nothing intimacy. I've been in a serious relationship with her for the last 2 years, and she is a very honest and down-to-earth girl, and I love her very much. We even had talks about marriage lately, and I'll probably marry her next year. Due to the nature of her job, she often receives tips and gifts occasionally from customers, mostly guys, hoping to impress her. It has never been a problem before, and I've never been worried about it since I trust her. She had a good upbringing with solid moral values, and those guys eventually give up when they feel that she's not interested in them and is just doing her job. Most of the customers of the club are local Vietnamese, but since last month, there is this rich guy from Dubai who's apparently a doctor, and he's persistently trying to pursue her and giving her hefty tips and expensive luxury gifts, and he doesn't seem to stop. Since he's a VIP customer and spends upwards of like $3,000 every single day, my girlfriend has to treat him respectfully and not upset him, otherwise she risks being fired. The kind of gifts that he gives her without batting an eyelid are the kinds that I cannot hope to afford for her with my measly $1,000 USD per month salary. And it's making me insecure lately. I tried talking to my girlfriend, and she's at a loss and doesn't know what to do as she wants to keep this job. I also don't want her to lose this job either because we have bills to pay, and it would be a huge financial burden on me if she quits. We are both trying to save money right now for our marriage and a house eventually. Moreover, I feel that she's happy receiving those gifts, hence the reason for my insecurity. Last night, that guy gave her a makeup set from Bobbi Brown worth $3,000 USD, and the joy on her face I saw last night really broke my heart, knowing that it's not easy for me to afford that kind of thing for her. But she became sad when she saw that I'm not that happy, which made me even sadder. I don't know how to deal with this insecurity. I cannot make her leave her job, and I know as long as she keeps working in the club, guys like this will keep popping up now and then. I love her and trust her, and I don't want to be a jealous boyfriend. But this rich guy from Dubai is somehow making me very insecure with the way he's treating my girlfriend. I don't know how to confront or cope with this feeling. My girlfriend tries to make me feel assured, but I don't want to stress too much with my girlfriend about it because I don't want her to start hiding things from me for the fear of making me upset. Has anybody had to deal with a third wheel that made you uncomfortable before? How did you deal with it? Now, for a few comments before the update. Comment 1. A lot of these other comments are good, but something else to think about is that rich people think about money and expensive things differently. A $3,000 makeup kit to a millionaire is like you going to the deli for a sandwich. The rich guy is probably used to people reacting well to his expensive gifts, but if you think about it, to him, $3,000 is not a big deal. To you, a $3,000 gift would have to be insanely important and meaningful for you to spend that much, so it feels more inappropriate to you. Outside of the reaction he was hoping to get, the expensive things he gives out mean next to nothing. Thinking about it like that might help you feel less insecure. Comment 2. You can't force her to stay with you. She either wants to be with you or not. All you can do is love her and support her in becoming the best person she can be. If she's so shallow that she is swayed by these gifts, then why would you want to spend the rest of your life with her? She would just make your life miserable. You have to trust her to make her choices. You have no control over what she decides to do, if anything. You have to give her that freedom, otherwise, your relationship will be dysfunctional. Now for the update. Hey everyone, thanks for all the comments and advice on my last post. It's been a wild few months since then, and boy, do I have an update for you. So after I shared my insecurities about the rich guy from Dubai showering my girlfriend with gifts, things took an unexpected turn. My girlfriend, let's call her Lynn, continued to work at the club, and the guy, whom I'll refer to as Dr. Dubai, kept upping his game. It was like he was on a mission to win her over with his wealth. But Lynn, being the grounded person she is, didn't let it get to her head. She kept reminding me that it was just her job and that I was the one she loved. Now here's where it gets interesting. One night, Lynn came home with a look on her face that I couldn't quite place. She sat me down and told me that Dr. Dubai had offered her a trip to Dubai, all expenses paid, to meet his family. He claimed it was a gesture of friendship and respect. Lynn was torn because she knew how it looked, but she also saw it as a networking opportunity that could lead to a better job. I was against it, but I didn't want to be the guy who held her back from a potential career move. We argued about it for days, and it put a strain on our relationship. Lynn assured me nothing would happen, and in the end, I trusted her enough to let her go. It was the longest week of my life, waiting for her to return. When she did, she was different. She seemed distant and preoccupied, and I couldn't shake the feeling that something had happened in Dubai. Lynn eventually confessed that Dr. Dubai had proposed to her. He had mistaken her politeness for deeper feelings and thought she would be swayed by the promise of a lavish lifestyle. She turned him down, of course, but the whole experience had left her shaken. She realized how much our simple life meant to her, and she didn't want to be part of that world of excess and empty promises. But here's the twist. Dr. Dubai didn't take the rejection well. He showed up at the club a few days later, and this time, he wasn't alone. He had brought a woman with him, someone who looked eerily similar to Lynn. It turned out that Dr. Dubai had a history of fixating on women who reminded him of someone from his past. The woman with him was his ex, who had left him years ago. Lynn's resemblance to her had sparked his obsession. The confrontation at the club was intense. Dubai's ex, let's call her Aisha, was furious. She accused him of trying to replace her with Lynn and made a scene in front of everyone. Lynn was caught in the middle, trying to calm the situation while also standing her ground against Dr. Dubai's advances. In the end, Aisha stormed out, and Dr. Dubai was banned from the club for causing a disturbance. Lynn was hailed as a hero by her co-workers for handling the situation with grace. But the incident left her rattled, and she decided to take a break from work to focus on our relationship and her own well-being. As for me, I learned a lot about trust and the strength of our bond. Lynn and I are closer than ever now, and we're back to planning our future together. But just when we thought things were settling down, another curveball was thrown our way. Lynn received a letter from Dr. Dubai, apologizing for his behavior and explaining that he was seeking therapy to deal with his issues. He also included a check, a significant amount of money, as a gesture of goodwill and to make amends for the trouble he caused. Lynn and I were stunned. We didn't know what to do with the money. It was enough to cover our wedding and then some. We're still deciding what to do with the check, but one thing's for sure, our love has been tested in ways we never imagined, and we've come out stronger for it. As for Dr. Dubai, we hope he finds the help he needs, and that he learns that money can't buy love or replace the past. Boyfriend fakes emergency dentist visit to blame me. So I leave him locked out of our apartment. Oh boy, he was pissed. At this point, I'm wondering if this can even be fixed. We've been together for 6 years with these types of issues for a lot of them, but they appear to be getting worse. For the holidays, I flew to see my family for 5 days. He can't come, because for 3 of those days, it was going to be just me and my sisters, who I haven't seen in a year. But honestly, it shouldn't be a big deal. He's gone away by himself for the holidays before. Everything was great between us, but while I was waiting at the airport to fly out, he texted with his request. He said he was in pain and needed to get in to see a dentist that day. I said I'd try, but I wouldn't have Wi-Fi on the 5-hour flight, and Googled 2 numbers near him and suggested he call when they opened. Once I landed, etc., my sister picked me up and we spent the next 2 hours straight talking. By then, any dentist would have been closed, and truthfully, I kind of had forgotten. I assumed he would have called Dennis and gotten himself an appointment. He texted me saying, "Him, any luck? No. Didn't you get in to see one? No. Did you even try? I can try tomorrow morning. So you didn't even try to help me when I asked, and you didn't even bother to tell me you weren't helping me." I then said that I was indisposed most of the day and that he could make an appointment for himself much easier than I could on a travel day. He said he was in too much pain to make an appointment. I honestly doubt that for many reasons, and proceeded to become very angry, calling me self-centered, selfish, etc., saying if we can't count on each other, what is the point of even being in a relationship? For the record, it's not like he ever does anything like this for me, nor do I even ask him to. He continued to insult me, saying that I think I'm fiercely independent. I've never described myself like that, and that he thinks people who feel that way will die alone. I admittedly started getting angry at him as well, because he has a strong tendency to do things like this when I'm busy. It ended up being a very nasty texting argument that put a damper on my time with my family. When I tell him that I feel he's doing this because he doesn't like when my attention is off him, he says, "No way, that's not true," and tells me I'm self-centered and gaslighting him. From my perspective, he keeps inventing crisis situations that aren't actually a big deal and causes a lot of weird chaos. I do want to be with him, but I don't want these issues all the time. A couple of years ago, it was pretty bad and I insisted he get a therapist. He then told me his therapist said I'm no good for him, but he wants to be with me anyway because he's in love with me. How on earth do I deal with this? I want for us to be healthy, with normal communication. It feels like this is very abnormal, but when I point it out, he just tells me that I don't accept responsibility for my part in the conflicts. But that's because I don't feel like I'm doing anything wrong. Are we just doomed? Should we try couples counseling? At this point, I'm truly confused. Now, for a few comments before the update. Comment 1. This is not a partnership. You are his new mother. I have made a phone call in regards to my husband's health exactly once. He threw his back out and was in agony on the floor. I called an ambulance because there was absolutely no way I could get him off the floor and into our vehicle myself and take him to urgent care. Plus, it would have been entirely too uncomfortable. He is a big boy and books his own appointments. I actually rarely know that he has had a dental appointment until he comes home with a new toothbrush and forms for me to submit to my benefits company. The fact that he is expecting you to drop everything and tend to his every need while you are enjoying yourself is more than selfish and is his way of controlling you. Not healthy, OP. Comment 2. He then told me his therapist said I'm no good for him, but he wants to be with me anyway because he's in love with me. Laugh my butt off. No, they didn't. He probably lied to you about even getting a therapist. Now for the update. A lot has happened since my last post, and I'm honestly not sure where to start. The situation with my boyfriend has spiraled into something I never expected, and I'm left feeling like I'm in the middle of a bad drama show. After the whole dentist debacle, things seemed to calm down for a bit. I thought maybe he'd realized he was overreacting and we could move on. Boy, was I wrong. 2 days later, I get a text from him saying he's locked himself out of the apartment. Now, this wouldn't be a big deal except for the fact that he lost his spare key last month, a fact he conveniently forgot to mention until now. I was still with my family, and there was no way I could help him from where I was. I suggested he call a locksmith, but he insisted that I should be the one to handle it because that's what partners do. I couldn't believe it. I was hundreds of miles away, and he expected me to magically fix his problem. I managed to find a locksmith online and arranged for them to meet him at our place. But when the locksmith arrived, my boyfriend refused to pay the fee, claiming it was too expensive and that I should have found a cheaper option. The locksmith left, and my boyfriend was still locked out. He ended up having to wait until a neighbor came home to let him in. When I got back from my trip, I thought we could talk it out and get past these issues, but instead, he blindsided me with accusations that I was neglecting our relationship and that I didn't care about his needs. He brought up the time 3 years ago when he had to cancel his own trip to help me with a family emergency, and how he expected the same level of commitment from me. I reminded him that back then, he had offered to cancel his trip, and I had never asked him to. It was his choice. But he twisted it around, saying I was guilt-tripping him into it, and that I always played the victim. The next day, I found out from a mutual friend that while I was away, He'd been out at bars every night, complaining to anyone who would listen about how unsupportive I was. He even told some people that I had abandoned him in his time of need, which was a complete exaggeration. I confronted him about it, and he denied everything. He said our friend was lying and trying to cause drama between us. But I trust this friend, and I knew they wouldn't make something like this up. The final straw came when I discovered he'd been messaging his ex, the one he always told me was crazy and that he wanted nothing to do with. He claimed they were just catching up, but the messages I saw were flirty and crossed a line. I was furious. I felt betrayed, not just by the messages, but by the constant manipulation and the way he always made himself out to be the victim. It was like he thrived on creating chaos and then blamed me for not fixing it. I suggested couples counseling again, but he laughed it off, saying we didn't need it and that I was overreacting. He said if I couldn't handle a few minor issues, then maybe I wasn't cut out for a serious relationship. Girlfriend disappears with my cat and belongings, but then I find out the unbelievable reason she did it. 5 days ago, I tried to call her a few times throughout the day while I was at my tattoo shop to check on her. We both do it daily and chat, but she didn't answer and didn't call back, and later on it went straight to busy. I later learned I was blocked. I eventually got worried if she's okay, but checked her Instagram and then other messaging apps she has, where I understood I was blocked everywhere. She hadn't blocked my business SIM, but did so too after I tried that as well. I came home to see along her personal belongings, my cat, whom I had since before her, laptop, iPad, drawing Wacom tablet, and tattoo machines all gone. Also her favorite cologne of mine and her favorite leather jacket of mine. All are gone. No notes. I have nothing to understand this. Recently, she's also been asking me for more money here and there. I gave her twice what she asked for to get her new iPhone and some other little things. I don't care about the money. I make enough to rebuy the things, but I feel awful and broken. I miss her, and I don't know anything. I think I should be angry or hate her, but she was the best before leaving suddenly. She's beautiful, introvert outside, wants to be back at home all the time, but talks a lot to me and our friends, and she has had a history of depression. She hasn't looked depressed since the first couple of weeks of us dating. Yes, she gets sad moods as often as any ex-partner of mine got sad, but I tried to be there. Her therapist kept saying she's doing great for a long time. I don't believe she was struggling with depression. I don't know where she is. We didn't fight, never did. Whatever way I try to reach her, she blocks it. All her friends are my best friends or their partners, all of whom she has also blocked. Her only old friend I knew and had the contacts for lives in another city now, told me it's not her business, but also told me she answered her call too and that she's very sorry, the friend, not my now ex-partner. I just don't understand what has happened. We painted together, watched movies together, worked out together, talked and laughed a lot, had a great intimacy life, cut each other's hair, went shopping, date nights, parties. I absolutely, insanely love her, and she does too. I thought she did. I've had enough relationships to know that she did. Not long ago, when I had to visit my old man, she FaceTimed to talk in my earbuds throughout the night and just hear me breathe. It's probably cringe to you, it'd be to me, but that's just how close we are. I don't know what happened. I don't know what to do. She had asked me to get her a very specific ring with a specific jewel a year into our relationship. And we talked about it a lot, about the future. She was so excited I cared to have the ring made. It wasn't a super expensive ring to sell. She asked for one made of a certain wood. From her family, I have only met her sister. Everyone else who's close family to her is abroad. Her sister tells me weird things, like why did you leave her? What have you done? Where is she? She stopped messaging me after I stopped replying time and time again that I'm just as confused. I don't know what to do. I can barely eat anything when I get home and I feel sad a lot, like my heart is about to explode in my chest and I find it hard to breathe. Sorry if this isn't related to this sub. I don't want to tell this to my friends. I just told them we broke up when they asked why she's blocked all contact. Should I just forget all this without knowing what has happened? Now for a few comments before the update. Comment 1. Honestly, As someone with borderline personality disorder and depression, this sounds like a complete mental breakdown, maybe psychosis or something. I've had delusions of running away and just starting fresh, but have had to check myself on it. Do you think she would harm herself? I would honestly call a wellness check. I mean, she's not even checking in and telling her family or friends what she's doing or where she's at. That's so concerning. Comment 2. File a police report for your cat, cologne, laptop, iPad, drawing, Wacom tablet, tattoo machines, jacket, and let her go. Report anything that's stolen. If the police do nothing, file in small claims court. But otherwise, just let her go. It's probably something to do with her and not you. That's why she took the coward's way out and snuck away. Now for the update. Hey everyone, it's been a week since my last post, and boy do I have an update for you all. I know you've been following my story about my girlfriend who vanished with my cat and some of my belongings. Well, things have taken a turn, and I'm still trying to wrap my head around it all. Let's start with a bit of history that I didn't mention before. My girlfriend, let's call her Anna, had always been a bit of a mystery to me. She had this air of secrecy that I found intriguing. Before she disappeared, she had been acting a bit off, more distant than usual. I chalked it up to stress because she had been working on a big project at her job, which she was very passionate about. She's a graphic designer and often worked late into the night, her eyes glued to the screen, her fingers dancing across the keyboard. Now, onto the juicy stuff. 3 days ago, I was at my tattoo shop trying to keep my mind off things when in walked Anna's sister. She had this look on her face, a mix of guilt and relief, and I knew she was about to drop a bomb on me. She told me that Anna had reached out to her the night before. Apparently, Anna had been feeling overwhelmed with our relationship. She felt like she was losing her identity, becoming just an extension of me, and it scared her. She needed space, a break from everything, but she didn't know how to tell me without hurting me. But here's the kicker. Anna's sister also revealed that Anna had taken my belongings, not out of spite, but because they reminded her of the good times we had. She took my cat because she knew I would be worried sick if the cat was left alone, and she planned to take care of it until she figured things out. The gadgets, well, she needed them for her freelance work, which she had started to focus on more since leaving. I was stunned. I didn't know whether to be angry or relieved. But then her sister told me something that made my heart drop. Anna had been saving up money, the money she had been asking me for, to pay for a private investigator. She had suspicions about her family, something about her inheritance that she never told me about. She thought someone was trying to cut her out of her late father's will, and she needed proof. The next day, I received a package at the shop. It was from Anna. Inside, there was a letter, my cat's favorite toy, and the ring I had made for her. The letter was a mix of apologies and explanations. She wrote about her fears, her need for independence, and how she felt trapped. She didn't want to drag me into her family drama, which is why she left without a word. But here's the compromise we reached. After reading her letter, I called her sister and asked her to pass on a message. I told Anna that I understood her need for space and that I would wait for her, but only if we could communicate, even if it was just through her sister. I couldn't stand the silence and the not knowing. Anna agreed, and we've been exchanging messages through her sister ever since. It's not ideal, but it's something. I still miss her like crazy, and I worry about her getting involved in whatever family issues she's dealing with. But at least now I know she's safe, and that's a huge relief. In the meantime, I've been trying to keep busy. I've thrown myself into my work, creating new tattoo designs, and even started a mural on the side of the shop. It's a way to channel my emotions into something positive. As for my friends, they've been supportive, though they're just as shocked as I am about the whole situation. They've been checking in on me, making sure I'm not falling into a dark place. I appreciate them more than they know. If you liked this video, you'll probably like these too. Also, while you're here, please consider subscribing. It's your support that keeps this channel alive and allows me to make better and longer videos. Have a great day.